All right, I have to call the December 5th, 2018 Lopatcong Township Council meeting to order. I would ask that everyone bow their heads for a moment of silence, keeping our former President George H.W. Bush in mind with your prayers. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times and by posting a copy on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Toledo?
Here.
Councilman Delcaro?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Here.
Council President Fryer?
Here.
Mayor Gucci?
Here. Do we have a public comment on agenda items only? Seeing none, I do need a motion to come out of the executive session. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Folks, I have a proclamation tonight for the Piazzas, who, as you all know, closed up back in, I believe it was June. Kind of a bittersweet moment for me, having been a lifelong resident here. I had to go to Broadway to get my corn this year, so I was a little upset by that, but I certainly can't blame you for wanting to retire. You guys ran a stellar business out there, and you'll be sorely missed. It's just something you always expected was going to be there, and when you ride by, you don't see it active anymore. It's kind of sad, but it's just another piece of my childhood that's gone. So I guess, as they say, that's progress. But I do have this proclamation up here. It says, whereas Piazza Farms and Greenhouses of Lopatcong, a Lopatcong icon, was established in 1950 as one of the largest greenhouse growers in Warren County, and whereas the Piazza family for over generations produced vegetable and bedding plants for both retail and wholesale customers, and whereas Piazza Farms has served the community and surrounding communities, and whereas Piazza Farms is known throughout the United States for their famous tomatoes and sweet corn, shipping to many states, even Alaska. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Township of Lopatcong, County of Warren, and State of New Jersey sincerely thank the Piazza family for their service to the community, noting the farmers market will be sorely missed by their customers, signed by James Mangucci, Mayor. So I'd like to present this to you. I do have one funny story. I went out the last day that you were open, and Christy was out there greeting customers, myself included, and she flew over to me and thank you for being a loyal customer, and she said to me, I just want to thank you for all your years for coming out here. So as I separated from her, somebody said, oh, even the mayor showed up. And she goes, he did? I said, yeah, you just love those. She had no idea who I was. Anyway, I certainly appreciate your time, your effort to the community. Please pass it along to Frank also. I know you served on our school board for many years, and it's just people helping people. It's a corny phrase that I coined, but you know what? It's truly what this township is all about. It's the way I was brought up, and that's what I'd like to see it again. So thank you. There's one for each of you. Thank you very much for your service. Appreciate it.
I'm flattered. I have to really thank you for this. Didn't expect it, but the reason that the business survives is because of support from the community and loyal customers. But not only loyal customers, we have generations of customers. I mean, my mom's over at Country Meadows and still has people over there that go up and say, "Oh, I used to buy corn at your stand." I mean, that's what supported it and kept us going through the years. Just like to thank you all for your support.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, enroll business. Number one, approve executive session and regular session minutes for November 7th, 2018.
I have one small comment. On the council reports, when I spoke, Beth, there's a line that says promote an idea. AN, it says AND in there. There's a typo.
Yep.
Well, at least we know you read the news. Have a motion? Motion. Second? Second. All in favor? Go ahead, Beth.
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Delcaro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Fryer?
Yes.
Mayor Gucci?
Yes. Under new business, ordinance number 2018-15, first reading to amend, revise, and supplement Chapter 227, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 37, handicap parking, to add a designated handicap parking space in front of a private residence.
Is this the handicap veteran? They're totally,
This is the gentleman who was at the last meeting.
yeah.
On 6th Street?
110 South.
But he was a totally disabled veteran, was he not? Or don't-
I'm not
think it's
sure.
totally
I'm not
disabled.
sure about that.
But it's the one from the last meeting, right?
Yes.
Yes, and in addition, when I was drafting it, I checked the ones that were in your ordinance, and most of them are deceased or have moved, so I took all of them out that did not apply. So you're actually only left with, this is the only
One space.
spot in town.
So we need to remove the signs at the one level.
I asked Brian if that could give him the list, if he could, he says he thinks the signs are down on most of those, but he'll drive around and check, right, Brian?
If you hand me a list, I'll make sure.
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Menuchio?
Yes. Number 2 is to authorize a change in the civil service title for employee Phyllis Coleman from keyboarding clerk 2 to administrative clerk deputy municipal register. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Beth?
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Menuchio?
Number 3 is to authorize statewide insurance company to pay invoice submitted by BKC Accountants in the amount of $7,629.04 for work completed in the tax office. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion, just for clarification, that this is not township funds.
It's going to be paid by
It's
the...
going to be paid by the insurance company.
We're just approving it.
Okay.
A second.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve that.
So did you...
Those
Yeah, I
seconds.
seconded.
Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Menuchio?
Yes. Number 4, we are going to remove.
Or you can just vote no.
Okay. Motion to vote? No?
So I would just, the motion is to authorize it, so you do a first and a second, and then if you wish to, just vote no.
Motion?
Wait, what was it?
Why
We'll
do
do
we
first
make
and
a
second.
motion?
Because you're opening it up for discussion, and then you can vote it down.
Discuss.
You don't have to discuss it, but you have to open it up for a motion and then vote no.
So we need a motion.
All right, I make the motion.
I will second the motion for purposes of discussion.
Discussion?
Do you have any discussion?
It was discussed in executive session,
Okay.
because it's
Roll
contractual.
call?
Councilman Toledo?
No.
Councilman Belcarro?
No.
Councilman Wright?
No.
Council President Pryor?
No.
Mayor Menuchio?
No. Okay, the consent agenda. We do have a couple of things there on number 19. No legislation has been passed yet on the legalized marijuana, so we're going to pull that. And we're going to have number 24, 18-301, is to award a contract for the drainage repair on Bellevue Road not to exceed $66,400. And we need to get that repaired. So, having said that, does anybody else have anything they want to pull from the consent agenda or comment on? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Motion.
I will second that.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Toledo?
Abstain from number 10, yes to the rest of them.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Menuchio?
Yes. Council reports. Mr. Polito.
Thank you. LAA, they're looking for a new person to run the concessions. They're looking for a soccer director. They have a new treasurer, Matt Herzer. And they're also very interested in finalizing the contract with the town with respect to the money that we give them, because they just paid their insurance and looking to get some money for that. Otherwise, I'd like to wish everybody a happy, safe, healthy holiday. All the best. That's it, Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Vaquero?
I have no report. I just want to wish everybody Merry Christmas.
Mr. Wright?
Just a few notes on the subcommittee that we set up to review the issues surrounding the tax collector's office. Apparently a few years back, they had approval to have MuniPay come in, an online payment service, and it was put on hold, I guess, due to bank changes and different CFOs. We did have a check in some of the records that no records that were done, like, what do you call it, electric feed payments that came from CoreLogic, Creata, or Wells Fargo were ever touched by our tax collector. I'd like to see if we can get something implemented in the next month or two, so we're ready for next year, where we will start accepting electronic payments, so we don't have to have any issues. I think it'll help us a lot, so you'll hear from me again next month when that. And that's all. Everybody have a good holiday and keep it going the way we are.
The only thing I have to report, the Rec Commission filed a grant application, as they did last year. It goes through the county, the state approves it, and it's for music in the park. I think we got $1,500 last year. My role in this was tiny. I delivered the application, but Lori Chesla did all the work on it. And I'm optimistic. It's interesting how they evaluate these things. What they want to do is show a diversity of bands. We have Latino entertainers. Last year we had a steel band and a few other things. We had Zydeco. So I think we're in good shape for getting more money. More diversity you show in your entertainment, the better chance you have. So I'd like to thank Lori Chesler for the work she did on it. And again, happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you. For myself, this is the end of my first year already. Very hard to believe, but it was a little bit of a bumpy ride with the tax collector's office, but we stayed the course. We did not make any deals of any kind, and we let it fall where it may. We've straightened out a lot of accounts. We have a forensic auditor in place. So I would just like to take the time to thank, it would be too numerous for me to mention, but everybody from our police department to our fire department, our emergency squad, all the volunteers, the coaches, all our professionals, Mr. Sturbins and Katrina. I'll tell you what, it's been a pleasure up here for me to work with these professionals and also the other four gentlemen that are sitting up here. It was a great time for me to come back. You guys all made it very easy. Gary, with our planning board, we got a lot of things going on with the Ingersoll property, and there's some other things that are coming, and we've gotten some roads done. So overall, I think the health of the township is good. Our revenues are up. So we're heading in the right direction. This certainly isn't rocket science up here. I can't take the credit for almost anything. I just happen to be the guy in charge at this point, and very lucky to be in charge and very humbled that the taxpayers of this township saw fit to put me in here. So very glad to have Mr. Pryor and Mr. Vaquero back. It helps things move along. There's no training period for anybody new. The two gentlemen that ran are fine people who've lived in this township. Mr. Lance has contributed to our planning board over the years. His wife's on the school board. So again, people helping people involved. Whether you agree or disagree, let's agree at least to keep it civil. And I think that's what we've done up here. We had a rocky ride for a few years. I didn't like sitting back there and see what was going on, so I decided to do something about it. Happy to be back. Have a great New Year's and Christmas, and be happy and be healthy. So thank you. Mr. Sturbins.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two items to report on regarding the school zone improvements on Belvedere Road and Strikers Road. I had a meeting with the county engineer on November 20th. The county engineer had comments regarding the Belvedere Road school zone improvements. The plans have been revised as well as a supporting traffic investigatory report, and that's going to be submitted to the county before the end of the week. The county was supposed to have actually had an agreement to us. I don't think it has been issued by them. I need to follow up on that. They're working to get an agreement, to allow these improvements to be installed on the county road, but we're getting closer on this, and hopefully this will be the end of it, end of the plans. So the plans will be approved as part of this process here. Regarding the work that Tilcon did, the resurfacing of the 7 roads, there were some punch list items. Tilcon was in town late last week to address those punch list items. If we find out that they've been satisfactorily addressed, I will be issuing a recommendation to the council to pay their bill at the year-end meeting in the last week of December. So you'll be getting some correspondence from me on that. That's it.
Okay, motion to approve department reports? Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes. Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Del Carro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Andrews?
Yes, and before I go, Chief, do you have anything for us? I mean, we have your monthly report up here in front of us? Okay,
Thank you, Mayor.
very good. Approve payment of bills?
I have to recuse myself. There's one JMT bill on there. Recuse myself from that bill on.
Need a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Roll call vote. Councilman Toledo?
Yes.
Councilman Del Carro?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Andrews?
Yes. Folks, questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi. My name is Tim DeSavo. I'm a resident.
You want to come up here to the
Yeah,
podium,
sure.
please? Thank you.
I live in Overlook.
Okay.
I'm the vice president of a local solar company, Green Power Energy at Clinton. We have a customer in Lopatcong, Scotts Mountain Road. We submitted all the permitting. Zoning, they actually approved everything. The zoning officer called us last minute and said that it looks like the code, when they wrote it, they approved all residential solar for roof mounted. They approved it for commercial, and they also approved ground mounted commercial. But they left out the word residential when they wrote ground mounted. So he can't legally, I guess, approve the application, so he requested that I come and meet with you guys, show you the plans, and ask that it gets approved. I have the plans. I don't know how.
I've seen ground mounted in town.
He says that this is the first time he caught this, and he believes that it's been overlooked for years, and they've approved many of them. He's now finally, I guess, caught it, and we were the first one to come through as he caught it. Like I said, I live here, the customer lives here, the customer's purchasing and owning the system. We're a local company out of Clinton, so just trying to get it resolved.
I think we'd have to put some conditions on it. We don't want it in the middle of the front lawn.
He actually physically gave us he gave us all of the restrictions, the setbacks, everything.
Yeah.
We abided by everything. And then he called us back and said, I know that you guys followed everything I told you, but I made a mistake. I'm seeing that it doesn't actually say residential ground mount in the code, so I can't move this on to building and electrical, who had already approved the permits.
We're looking at our attorney here. I like that.
I'm writing it down. I'm not familiar with that code section, so maybe Paul and I can take a look at it and just see. It may just need to be amended.
They had recommended I speak with Paul,
Yeah,
and show Paul
you
the
have to
plans.
amend a section having to do with accessory uses
Yes.
on residential properties to put some standards in for this.
Yeah, that takes 2 meetings, so I don't know if there's some relief that can be done in the meantime.
You're obviously all set to go.
We're all set to go. She's all set to go. Everything is, the financing's in place.
Maybe we allow these permits to be issued. We don't issue any more until we have the ordinance updated.
Yeah.
It is, I can tell you, it's in the back of the yard. It's landscaped where there's trees, so it's not visible. So it's behind the house, it's not visible. Again, we followed the setbacks that he had originally given us.
It's not unlike a satellite if somebody, a satellite dish, if they decide to put that on the
Right.
ground. Yeah.
And again, I have the stamped plans if you want to see them.
Do we want a copy of those just for the heck of it?
You guys have them already
Yes,
but, I mean, I just brought them in case anyone wanted to look at
How
them.
big is the area that these panels will be going in,
Sure, it's all here.
square footage wise?
It spans
keeping in mind that Scotts Mountain, that's a big area up there. Those are big homes.
It's actually, and we included a survey of the property and wrote everything out on the survey.
Thank you. I guess we need a motion to authorize the permits for this particular. So,
And then I'll prepare for the next
Wait,
meeting.
you want to have a motion on it?
Just to authorize the building department that they can go ahead with those, knowing that this is being changed.
Yeah, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but we're essentially granting a variance by the council here, and we cannot do that.
But you're authorizing me to draft the legislation to change it. You're just,
Tell us what the motion is.
in this one particular instance, that those permits that were issued and rescinded can be reissued, with the understanding that we're
Based on the
amending
fact
the
that it's been a
ordinance.
long-standing practice.
Seems it's been overlooked,
And our
yeah.
plans are to amend the ordinance.
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Del Caro?
Yes.
Councilman Ray?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Mayor Lucia?
yes. Can I keep this for myself?
Thank you, guys.
I can keep this?
Yes, they're just copies.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Anyone else, folks? Ms. Steinhardt behind you there, John.
Tia Steinhardt for Jacob Way. I'm here this evening in my capacities as a township resident, planning board member, and elected member of the Warren County Republican Committee to bring awareness to misinformation that was disseminated by another township resident and fellow planning board member, Donna Schneider. First, I note that a community is not much different than a person in that we, as a community, are only as good as our reputation, and we should not take lightly when someone sullies it. Instead, we should stand up and defend it, no different than we would stand up and defend ourselves. With that in mind, at the November 28th Planning Board meeting, members were made aware of a Facebook post authored by Ms. Schneider that referenced and attached a letter written by Mayor Mangucci in his personal and political capacities. The complete letter, a copy of which I brought with me tonight, reflected the mayor's home address and that it was paid for by the Warren County Republican Committee and therefore not with public funds. In what can only be described as an intentional effort to disparage the mayor, council, Republican Committee, and, by extension, Lopatcong community, Ms. Schneider cropped the photo of the letter and attached it to her post so that the paid for by was intentionally omitted. Then, she alleged, falsely, that the mayor and Republican Committee sent the letter using thousands of dollars of taxpayer money and therefore illegally. That is untrue. I've attached to the mayor's letter a copy of Ms. Schneider's inaccurate and intentionally misleading post. I also went back and reviewed the relevant position of the video from last week's planning board meeting. It reflects as follows. When asked by Councilman Pryor what would lead Ms. Schneider to say that this letter cost the taxpayers thousands of dollars, which you can find at 16 minutes 32 seconds into the video, she responded at 16 minutes 40 seconds, "I'm not going into this with you, Joe Pryor," followed by, "This has nothing to do with the planning board," at 16 minutes 48 seconds. I respectfully disagree. It is difficult to distinguish yourself from your title, especially when you are assailing the character of your colleagues and community you serve. It is even more difficult and insidious when you look at the totality of Ms. Schneider's actions. I note also that this is not the first time that her credibility has been called into question. However, in this instance, whether as a private citizen or planning board member, Donna published to the Lopatcong community documents and statements that by their very design were materially altered and intentionally false, She manipulated the letter's image to make her inaccurate point more salacious. Her actions and malicious allegations demean not only the mayor, but by extension, the planning board on which she serves, the council and committee, because they call into question the character of an entire community. I think we can conclude that she made the alterations to the letter and made the statements knowing them to be false, since they were refuted by the only portion of the letter she intentionally concealed from her post. And while that might not be enough to warrant her removal from the planning board, the fact that she would alter a document and fabricate misstatements to suit her purpose speaks volume about her character and should, at the very least, be brought to the council and community's attention. If nothing else, if the township does not have a social media policy for employees and volunteer officials, it should consider enacting one that would contemplate willfully false statements made by those officials. And at the very least, I respectfully request that Ms. Schneider's posts and alterations, along with the original letter, be made a part of the official minutes of this meeting. To that end, I have copies for the council and everyone in attendance tonight, which I have in my folder, so the record can be accurate and complete. As I know, and as every member of the town council sitting here before us tonight knows, and what Ms. Schneider should know, but seemingly forgets, is that we serve as representatives of this community, both when we are sitting behind that dais and when we leave this building. We should hold ourselves to a higher standard. I am 20 years old, and I know I do. Finally, there may be some, including Ms. Schneider, who see in my actions or hear in my words my father's influence. And this is true, because it is a proud part of who I am. But let me be clear, that is all it is. I respect my father greatly and appreciate his reputation and guidance, But the decision to come here tonight and make this statement is in these words, is mine and mine alone. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also have copies for the public if they would like some, so I can pass them out.
Sure.
I would like to comment, Ms. Steinhardt. You're an amazingly articulate young lady. And I admire people who are willing to come before this board and either express their pleasure or displeasure. I welcome healthy debate. Now, getting back to this episode, First Amendment gives people a lot of rights. I recognize that when you run for public office, you have to be thick-skinned. You're going to be called names. You're going to be criticized. That comes with running for public office. The problem here is your planning board, your zoning board of adjustment are quasi-judicial boards. Members of those boards are supposed to be held to the same standard as judges. You're supposed to be mature, objective, and there's no room on those boards for this type of behavior. People think, well, I didn't say it to the board. If a judge starts spouting things on Facebook or Twitter, he'd be in trouble. And more you read about somebody in a position of responsibility in a town doing things like this online. It's a problem. All I can say at this point is we're gathering the facts, we're investigating it, and if action has to be taken, I will sponsor it. So I appreciate your presentation, Ms. Steinhardt, and thank you. I wish more people would speak out. If someone wants to come up here and tell me I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not going to be offended. We'll have a debate right here, but when you start altering documents and doing things like that, and you're an officer, a planning board member and a zoning board officer are not, they're more than volunteers. In the statute, they're officers of the township, and they are held to a higher standard, and we will hold them to that standard, if I can help. Thank you.
As most of these council members up here know, I don't normally jump in the fray because I've always been one, probably learned it from my father, was the silent lesson that I didn't even realize I learned, but because I watched people come and go over the years, my father ran his first election when I was 6 years old. I sit here today at almost 61, so that's a long time. And the voters over the last 3 years have seen to it that what was here attacking not only former Mayor Steinhardt and myself, but just this township, the way I saw it, which is why I decided after 5 years to come back. So their credibility, whoever they may be, really doesn't mean anything to me anymore, because obviously the people saw fit to go back to the same old, as it says here in this Facebook post. I don't have a Facebook account. I'm not a big social media guy, because it's usually a gutless, faceless way for people to get their points across. And what Ms. Steinhardt did tonight was not gutless, and it was not faceless. She came here. So, Tia, I appreciate that very much, and it's quite hard for me to watch this young lady come up here and stand, because I remember her playing with Play-Doh in Beth's office that's how I know I'm getting old, but it is a bold-faced lie. It was not paid for by taxpayers' dollars, and it is not the mayor's letter. This is addressed from James Mangucci, 801 Belvedere Road. That's my home address, signed by me, not as mayor, just signed by me simply. Quite frankly, had it gone the other way, then this individual would not have been popping off on Facebook. Before I wrote this letter, more or less as an endorsement to Joe and Lou, because I felt they were doing a good job and I wanted to stay on the course that we were on, because God knows we had suffered for a period of years. That's all it was. And I asked them both. I said, you know what, I could hurt you. I don't know. Maybe people aren't happy with what I'm doing, because let's face it, the face of the council is usually the mayor. So we wrote it, and it worked out. I'm very happy to have Joe and Lou back. Again, it's sometimes you do have to defend yourself, and I was prepared to do that tonight, because I did bring a copy of the letter, but I don't know that I could have put it as eloquently as Ms. Steinhardt did. So my thanks to you, and I will tell you, and I will say this publicly, it's on the tape. Anytime anybody wants to tie me to your father, I consider it to be an honor. So thank you. Anyone else? John?
John Nichols, 66 Byron Drive. My question is about the paving on Red School. Is that the end of it, just that piece?
For this year.
For this year?
Yeah.
What they are at some point going to do?
Yes, that's our intention, and I believe we applied for a $200,000 grant, Paul?
It was $250,000 grant for
Also.
Yeah.
My other question is that road considered a 4-lane highway?
My intentions are, and the engineer can speak to this better than myself, but my intentions are to strike that in such a way that it will be 2 lanes. You're going to have a wide shoulder.
Well,
but,
it's better than people passing on the right, passing on the left.
That's been brought up for years, and there's really nothing there.
There's going to be a striping plan prepared if we get the funding to continue the road improvements.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
That's why I smile, not to make light of your question, but that question's been around so long.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah, but it seems to be getting worse and worse.
It's going to get solved this time around.
Well, you get more crowded in the area.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, but that's our intentions at this point. Baltimore Street will be done too, by the way, in the spring, so that's always a question we get. Anyone else? Kathy?
DeVos, 2 Sundance Way. First of all, I want to thank Ms. Steinhardt for what she said, and mine is kind of a follow-up to her. I attended my first planning board meeting as a member of the planning board last week, the week before, and we had this distribution of the rules and regulations of the planning board, and there was a little paper that said, I have received them. Ms. Schneider made a huge issue of not signing it and stating several times when Mr. Pryor asked her why, I'm not going to discuss this with you, Mr. Joe Pryor. We never understood this. So couldn't get that down. And then on her Facebook page right after the meeting, she criticized Lori Chesla for reading Miss Donna's Facebook post about your letter, Jim.
Yep.
And that just was an outright lie, what she said. She also made some really nasty comments about some people on the council, which I will not repeat out loud. Ms. Schneider, in my opinion, and I have proof of this over the years with police reports, has blatantly lied about quite a few things. I'm not going to go into it because we'd be here for another hour. But I can prove it to you if you need it. My problem is, as you stated, the planning board is a quasi-judicial board, and you should be honest and fair on it. And I have never known her, in the number of years I've known her now, to be able to tell the truth. So that's my comment. If I do believe that something should be done, at the very least, a censure. Thank you.
If I could just clarify one thing, I'm trying to get things accurate. The argument with me was not over the documents, it was over the posting. And the refusal to sign was, the argument was with Chairman Gary Van Vliet.
Sorry about that. Listen. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, good.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? Seeing none, again, my thanks to the Piazzas for your years of service here. Certainly appreciate it. You'll be sorely missed. With that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Folks, thanks for coming out.